Hello, everyone. So it's 3 o'clock and now it's time to start. Let's get started. Okay, again, hello, everyone. Thank you all for attending today's event. Now is the time to accelerate action, Japanese non-state actors path to net zero, hosted by Japan Climate Initiative, JCI. My name is Ken Tanaka, Climate and Energy Group Officer at WWF Japan. And I am working as a member of Japan Climate Initiative Secretariat team. So before starting the program, wait a second, please. Before starting the program, please allow me to briefly introduce JCI. So please look at the screen. JCI is a multi-sectoral coalition of non-state actors in Japan, established in 2018, and to join the front line of global trend for decarbonization from Japan. We have currently 722 members in the initiative. And our representative is Mr. Takejiro Seyoshi, who is going to be the first speaker for our opening remarks. And our secretariat team consists of 3 organizations, CDP Japan, Renewable Energy Institute, and WWF Japan. In addition, we have 4 national partners, Japan CLP, the Frontier Network, NK.jp, and ICLEI Japan. Since the launch of JCI in 2018, we have implemented a lot of collective projects. One of the key moments of JCI is Japan Climate Action Summit, which is organized annually in October. And this year we have organized the Japan Climate Action Summit 2022 just last month. And also often we organize seminars for our members and even for non-members to provide the latest information on climate change issues in Japan and in other countries in the world, like policies and NDCs and a lot of these things. And also we organize sometimes workshops for only members, our members, so that they can exchange their knowledge and experiences together. The one more important project of JCI is issuing joint statements as a collective voice of our members, as a collective non-state actors initiative. So for example, we issue a joint statement with the endorsements of our members, calling on the national governments to raise its NDC or renewable targets and so on. So in today's event, we are going to show some of our leading signatories, how they are making their strides towards net zero targets, and also what they expect for COP27 from the perspectives of different sectors and different constituencies. So, okay. Now let's move on to the program. So I would like to introduce our representative, Mr. Takejiro Tsuyoshi, and who is a leading advocate of JCI, and he is one of the founders who are actively involved in the establishment of JCI. So please give a warm welcome to Mr. Takejiro Tsuyoshi.
Ken, thank you for your kind introduction. Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to extend my warm welcome to you all at the JCI's venue, including the JCI members who came all the way from Japan, and in particular, the panelists attending today's event. Thank you so much. As Ken explained, the Japan Climate Initiative, as we call it JCI, is a coalition of non-state actors in Japan. It was established in July in 2018 for the member organizations to work together to contribute to realizing net zero by 2050, demonstrating global leadership in achieving the 1.5-degree target. While the Japanese government climate policy lagged the international level, it was the beginning of JCI that we called on Japanese non-state actors to participate in the initiative as a place to disseminate and exchange the efforts of so-called non-state actors such as local governments and companies who are working hard to address global warming. Under the Japanese corporate culture or Japanese culture, where non-state actors had not stepped into the activities that could keep a distance from the central government. I was worried about how many actors would participate in JCI. However, once it started, my worry blew away. It turned out that 105 actors participated by its launch. Since then, the JCI's activities spread throughout the country, Japan. The number of the members continued to grow, and today it has grown to 722. What does it mean to have such a consistently growing membership? In my interpretation, I think this is because there is a growing sense of crisis, that climate change is a crisis that no one can avoid. And it is our responsibility for us to deal with it as a member of the global community. And if we wait for the central government to respond, we will not be able to survive the green transformation competition that is accelerating now. It is not only a JCI is not only a platform for such exchange among members, but also plays a role in delivering members' voices to the central government. For example, in April last year, the Japanese government announced the updated CO2 emissions reduction target, which was only 46% by fiscal 2030. It was literally in line with the figure that JCI members called for in a joint statement issued before the government announcement. I believe that the voice raised by the JCI members would have contributed to the target raise. The aim of today's event is to have the diverse members representing JCI shared with the world the progress of their leading efforts in their responsible fields and their expectations for COP27. Through this event, I hope that everyone will be able to see how non-state actors in Japan are making progress towards achieving the 1.5-degree target. And that it will help accelerate collaboration and cooperation among non-state actors around the world. Taking COP27 as an opportunity again, JCI will strive to enhance the ambition loop in which the central government and the non-state actors push each other's backs to escalate ambition level together to a much higher summit. In addition, I hope that JCI members' efforts will keep growing to contribute not only to emission reductions, but also to adaptation and loss and damage, which is a major agenda of this COP27. I would like to conclude my remarks by once again thanking everyone who is presenting at this venue. Shukran, arigato, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Seyoshi, for the remarks, sharing the journey of JCI and giving an encouraging hope to the future of JCI. So now let's move on to the panel discussion. And so where a bunch of our members will share the leading efforts and also the expectation for COP27. Now, I will now hand the stage over to our moderator, Naoyuki Yamagishi, Chief Conservation Officer, Director, Conservation Division at WW Japan. Naoyuki, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ken. My name is Naoyuki Yamagishi at WW Japan. Thank you all for coming to this JCI's event. And I'm privileged to moderate these excellent panels today. Without further ado, I'm going to start. Actually prepared specific questions to each of these excellent panelists. So I'm going to throw the nasty questions to each of these panelists. And then in response, the panelists are going to give the 5-minute presentation to the questions. So let me start from this lady sitting next to me, Adachi-san. She's from youth group. And so let me start with the very general questions. I know that there are lots of youth coming to COP27. What do Japanese youth and the world youth want or expect from COP27? That's my question. Over to you, Sam.
Thank you. So in my presentation, I will talk about my climate actions and what I expect for COP27. Okay. So how to fight big polluters. Hello, this is Kokoa Adachi from Science for Future Nagoya. I'm a climate activist and organizer and a high school student. A few years ago, I learned about climate change when Greta Thunberg did climate strikes. And since then, I've tried to solve climate change and taken action. For example, I made a favor to do net zero manifestation to Nagoya City mayor, but he said that he can't do it because there are companies like Toyota, which is a company in his city's prefecture. In addition, I have joined the climate march, and in which we said abstract messages like climate crisis is a matter of lives. But only saying such abstract messages never makes companies afraid of us. When I realized that asking and abstract messages won't work to solve climate change, I started to think that I should combat the specific project which destroys the environment and violate human rights. So I took action at COP27. So on November 9th, there was pavilion at Japan Pavilion. The MUFC Bank did a presentation. So we took an international action about ECOP with activists from Tanzania and Uganda. ECOP will be the world's longest oil pipeline if built and in East Africa and cause a large-scale displacement and environmental destruction. However, MUFC Bank hasn't announced that they won't support ECOP anymore. That's why we asked them, why don't you say that you won't support ECOP anymore? Okay. The answer was this.
もう一人のパネリストの銀行は辞めるっていう風にアナウンスをしてるんですよ。
みずほも言ってます。
なのに三菱だけ言わないっていう。
Yeah, that's because I'm not the CEO. I don't know what we are doing. I have no answer here, but we can take back that question.
何をやってるか知らないってことですか？
私は知りません。
Right now, the ECOP pipeline is being constructed in our country. Why is it being funded by such a big company that could have been invested in something else, maybe renewable energies or greener jobs and other greener deals?
Yeah, so let me know then what this project is all about. And I'm sorry I have to go. So yeah, but I hear you well. I assure you.
Thank you.
Okay.
So, can you believe this? This is unacceptable. He said he didn't know about ECO because he's not a CEO. And after the activists from Uganda and Tanzania asked him about ECO, he said he has to go because he's busy. We have to change this situation. And what I expect for COP27 is a meaningful change. When I came here, I realized that people from companies only want to show that they are doing okay, but you can't deceive us. What we demand for COP27 is a meaningful change. But what is meaningful change? So here are 3 points. First, listening to the activists, especially from MAPA, most affected people and areas. In Japan, activists in from MAPA are often considered to be weak and only get support from developed countries, but they are actually raising their voices like in the video. If the person from MUFC actually take action after listening to our voices, then it means our voices are respected. The action should be taken after listening to our voices. And second, stop funding fossil fuels. You may not be able to believe it, but Japanese companies support many fossil fuel projects in the world. For example, like ECOP by SMBC, or Matawari ultra super critical coal-fired power plant in Bangladesh by JICA and Sumitomo Corporation. No matter how good companies seem to doing okay, they are actually doing the terrible things, destroying the environment and taking human lives behind the scenes. We have to stop it right now. Third is climate reparations. Assisting with adaptation isn't honorable duty or solidarity. It's reparations for the injustices high-income nations and sectors have caused. The reparations must be done immediately, and they must be the meaningful ones. The Matawari project used to be said that it's a measure to solve climate change. The high-efficient coal power plant can't be climate reparations. The action against the big polluters won't end until they stop destroying the environment and killing people. We, the activists all over the world, will take action against it. We are watching you. And to the people who feel something wrong with this situation, and to the people who want to change the situation, let's fight big polluters together. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Adachi-san. It is always great to have a youth perspective because sometimes discussion at COPs, becomes complex and ambiguous and, compromises and etc. But it always reminds us all that why we are here, what are the kind of questions, tough questions we really try to answer at this kind of international settings, right? Against this sort of tough questions background, let me move on to the next two speakers from business and the local government. To them, let me give these questions. Since COP26 saw the sort of conclusions of the Paris rulebook, now the focus is now more shifting towards the implementation. As a matter of fact, that the leaders summit here in the COP27 was called implementation summit, right? Under such circumstances where concrete actions are required, what aspect of your climate efforts is the most important? So please, Mr. Kishimoto from Hitachi, and then after that, Mr. Fukuyasu from Tokyo Metropolitan Government. Could you try to answer that through your presentations?
Thank you very much, Mr. Kawaguchi. I'm Kishimoto from Hitachi Corporation. As Mr. Yamaguchi mentioned, I believe this is a time to action to reach the carbon neutral target. Because time is limited, I want to explain 3 points. First, Hitachi's business, building infrastructure. Hitachi is a company providing social infrastructure such as electric power grids, railways, factory management systems, and others. Next slide, please. And vision and target. Hitachi's vision target is not just making material of infrastructure, but about contributing to sustainability of planet and human well-being. We believe that people doesn't want material things, but good services. This is the reason why we have a vision of sustainable society and human welfare. Next slide, please. We call Hitachi's business for this purpose Lumada model. Lumada model is focusing on leveraging data to efficiently support infrastructure from the designing stage to the operation and the management stage. By doing that, we try to provide infrastructure most efficiently and most good for the people. Now we are challenging how to change this infrastructure to the greener one. I want to talk about our strategy, green transformation strategy. Next slide, please. We have two approaches. The one is green transformation for core, and the other is green transformation for growth. Green transformation for core, focusing reducing negative environmental emission of our company's activities, which includes setting a target of scope 1, scope 2 net zero by 2030, and scope 1, 2, 3 by 2050. We also think that green transformation for growth is more important. This is activities to make a positive impact to the society. We are trying to produce green products and services to develop the more green transformed societies. Third, I want to talk about real actions. Next slide, please. Next one, please. Yeah, one example. What we do at the Omika factories. Omika factory is a plant that have been producing Hitachi's cutting-edge IoT products, such as control system of factory or railway or water. And I want to draw your attention to when this factory was started. It was 1969, so very old factories. Although it's old factory, we have retrofitted it by collecting key production data and analyzing them to improve the production operation. As a result, despite not having a state-of-the-art equipment installed, this factory is certified as World Economic Forum's Lighthouse. This is the first one of all Japanese companies. Next slide, please. Currently, we are working to use these data for energy management to decrease the carbon emissions towards net zero. This is our Green Core goal. And next slide, please. In addition to that, our challenge is not limited to our Green Core. We will make use of these experiences to make regional carbon net zero actions. We call it green network activities. Yes. In conclusion, we are focusing on infrastructure businesses and realizing the green transformation is important. So we set up 2 strategies and making a real action, not only in the factory, but beyond that to the communities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Yamagishi.
Wait a second, please.
Yes.
So the next person the next speaker is Mr. Fukuyasu from Tokyo Metropolitan Government. Those of you don't know much about Tokyo's role in Japan, that the Tokyo Metropolitan Government is this, interesting nature. How do you call it? They try to be more ambitious than the central government. So perhaps you might hear interesting stories around that too.
Thank you. I'd like to thank you for giving me the chance to speak here today. My name is Toshifumi Fukuyasu from the Tokyo Metropolitan Government, also known as the TMG. In today's presentation, I will be sharing an overview of the TMG's sustainable building policies. Cities consume more than 2/3 of the world's energy and account for more than 70% of the world's carbon footprint. Therefore, cities play a critical role in tackling the climate change crisis. As the world makes a rapid progress toward decarbonization, Tokyo, one of the world's largest cities, must further accelerate its actions. The global situation has been becoming increasingly uncertain due to situations like Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Even in Japan, the stable supply of energy is facing an imminent crisis. Resource and energy prices are soaring, and the risk of relying on fossil fuel imports from foreign countries is becoming apparent. To fulfill its responsibility as a major consumer of energy and resources, the TMG is committed to accelerating its effort to find an integrated solution to decarbonization and energy security. Next, please. All actors must work together and take concrete actions in order to achieve a net zero city, a project we call Zero Emission Tokyo by 2050.
To stay consistent with this goal, Tokyo is aiming to halve GHG emissions by 2030. In our project we call Carbon Half. In terms of progress, Tokyo has achieved an approximate 27% reduction in energy consumption compared to levels in the year 2000. On the other hand, greenhouse gas emissions have only seen a 4% reduction, signaling that further actions are necessary. It is essential to optimize energy efficiency and maximize the use of decarbonized energy. Next, please. Tokyo is a large city with a population of approximately 14 million people. Energy used in buildings such as residential and commercial buildings account for more than 70% of the city's CO2 emissions. As a result, countermeasures for buildings are an important object on the road to net zero. Looking at trends in energy consumption by sector, the residential sector was the only sector to record an increase in energy consumption since the year 2000. In addition, in the commercial sector, we need to further accelerate reduction efforts so far toward carbon half. Next, please. Many cities around the world find city-level decarbonization, particularly the decarbonization of building, challenging. I'd like to about the TMG's following two building-related policies and measures. First off, in 2010, Tokyo implemented the world's first urban cap-and-trade program, which requires existing large buildings to limit their CO2 emissions. In fiscal year 2020, this program achieved a 33% reduction in CO2 emissions compared to the base year emission, which is a significant achievement. This measure has received high rigors worldwide, and we have been providing expertise cultivated through its implementation to New York City. Next, please. Secondly, we focus on the huge potential of Tokyo's rooftops. The residential sector was the only sector to record an increase in energy consumption. To help address this problem, the TMG has proposed a solar panel mandate, which would reduce residential sector emissions. Number of subnational governments in the United States and Europe are implementing solar panel mandates for new houses. Mandates like these are crucial considering that the environment performance of new buildings will shape Tokyo in 2050. The TMG is aiming to create a city that has a sufficient supply of healthy, comfortable, climate-resilient housing. Next, please. The building subject to the previously mentioned solar panel mandate will be new small and medium-sized houses and buildings. Major housing suppliers will be subject to comply with the mandate. The TMG will impose an annual requirement for installing PV systems that each housing supplier will be obligated to achieve. The TMG will mandate the installation of not only solar panels, but also electric vehicle charging equipment. Installation and energy efficient equipment will also be mandatory. Tokyo is also considering enhancing its ordinance program for new large-scale buildings, making the massive shift to renewable energy is an issue cities all around the world are facing. I believe that Tokyo's measures will serve as a good precedent. Next, please. The photo was taken last month in Buenos Aires when the TMG received the C40 Awards for our collaborative efforts with Kuala Lumpur City to enhance policies for sustainable buildings. We are keen to team up with non-state actors such as cities, companies, NPOs, and financial institutions to share knowledge and discuss climate measures in order to achieve common goals. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fukuya-san. He really didn't, emphasize that, but the introduction of a mandatory PV installation for small households is one of the biggest controversies this year in Japanese climate discussion. So I'm happy that he actually TMG went through it. So it was great. So let's turn to the financial sector. It's fair to say at COP26, GFANZ received one of the biggest attention, I guess. And so and after 1 year since the launch of the GFANZ, Glasgow Financial Alliance for Net Zero, and Daiichi Life is one of the first to join the net zero initiatives under the GFANZ. So what happened after 1 year? Ota-san, could you answer that question?
Okay, thank you, Yamagishi-san, and thank you for inviting me to this panel. I am very excited and honored to have discussions with such distinguished panelists. Hello, everyone. My name is Hiroshi Ota, and I am from Daiichi Life. For those who don't know Daiichi Life, it is one of the largest life insurance company in Japan, with the total asset size of about $350 billion. And let me briefly explain what GFANZ is and what it is doing. A financial institution like us has a huge amount of money, so be that it is our own money or customers' money, and we lend or invest those money to the non-financial institutions. And by doing so, we can help those companies transition their business to net zero. And that's why the financial institutions around the world has formed the Glasgow Financial Alliance for Net Zero, or GFANZ for short. And before the creation of GFANZ, each financial sector has already set up its own alliances. For example, like Asset Owner Alliance or Banking Alliance, shown at the bottom of the slide. But if those alliances are united and tackle with the climate issues together, then we can use our resources more efficiently. We can have better idea, and we can make our voice better listened to by stakeholders or governments. So that's the objective of the GFANZ. And although we have more than 550 member institutions in sector alliances, it is not necessary that all of them come to discuss pan-sectoral issues. So the discussion, the decision-making body of GFANZ is composed of a small number of people, 4 leaders, and 20 CEOs. And it is called the Principals Group. And my company's CEO is the member of this Principals Group. And he is the only member from Japan so far. And this year, the activities of GFANZ were very, very fruitful. G-Funds worked mainly under 3 pillars. The first is to develop recommendations and guidance for financial institution transition plans. Now, what is a transition plan? Well, it is a multi-year plan to reduce CO2 emissions until it becomes zero by 2050. And every company in the real economy should eventually have such a plan. And the transition plan for a financial institution is a plan to help companies develop and implement their own transition plans. And the G-Funds issued this year 10 principles that can be used as a reference to develop a transition plan for financial institutions. And second pillar, the G-Funds considered how to mobilize capital to emerging markets and developing economies to address climate issues. And we issued a statement for that. Many member institutions participated in various projects to provide funds to those countries. And the third pillar, G-Funds developed expectations to the public sector and issued a call to the governments around the world to take actions. We think that although the private financial sector has a big role to play, the government should take the leading role to change the whole economy to net zero. Next slide, please. Well, the next slide tells basically the same thing as I just told, but the one thing is to be added. Recently, G-Funds started to get involved in the public-private cooperation project to establish net zero related climate data utility, because the lack of consistent high quality data is a serious constraint to address climate issues through finance. So it newly became the fourth pillar of the G-Funds works. Next slide, please. So this slide, which is my last slide for the first round of presentation, is a list of some of the G-Funds publications this year. As you see, G-Funds has been quite active in issuing various documents. And please visit the G-Funds website if you are interested in those publications. Well, I stop here and hand the mic back to Yamagishi-san. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ota-san. Thanks for the update of the G-Funds activities and also your company's actions. Last but not least, but we have a speaker from religious group, and it's not always the case where we can hear the religious group's climate action. So let me ask the simple questions. I mean, many organizations just join in JCI, but to be honest, religious groups are still rare. So could you highlight the role that a religious group can play in climate action, Mr. Asai?
Hello, thank you, moderator. And also thank you, JCI, for giving me this opportunity, regardless of the tricky situation where religion has become very controversial over the couple of months in Japan. Yeah, I'm Nobuyuki Asai from Soka Gakkai. Soka Gakkai is one of the largest Buddhist organizations in Japan, and nowadays we have members in many countries as well. Yeah, I'm raising three roles as for faith actors. Yeah, we often use faith instead of religion for this type of discussion. Yeah, so first is the appeal to people's heart and soul. So in Japan, it's like about less than 20% who practice a specific faith, but globally saying it's like more than 80%, practice a specific faith. So religious or faith leaders' words are really impactful to people, and it can reach many people's heart and soul. Yeah, one typical example is a religious document titled Laudato Si, released by Pope Francis in 2015 from Vatican. And it is said that it gave impact to like more than 1 billion people around the world. And not only the Catholics, but to other people as well. Within our organization, our leader, Daisaki Ikeda, has released some relevant proposals, and it has inspired our members as well. The second point is to raise awareness. So nowadays, many religious or faith groups, events, or publications often address the climate issue. So many people already become aware of that issue. Our Women to Mission members are now promoting a unique campaign for raising awareness. They have launched a very simple web tool, and people can select what they can do in our daily lives in order to address the climate issue. And this tool can calculate how much emission can be reduced for their activity. So those people like housewives or those who are not keen on this issue can now feel familiar with that issue and feel empowered to take more action. And third is to utilize resources and assets effectively. And these resources can be like physical ones or also financial ones. And to be honest, we are still at the initial stage, but I'm now very much inspired by Kokoa-san's words, and I'm determined to take more action on this aspect as well. Move to the next page, please. So at this COP27, faith groups are organizing a lot of types of events. On the first day, we organized Talanoa Interfaith Dialogue at a very beautiful Coptic church located south of this peninsula. So every year, this Talanoa Dialogue is organized on the first day or just one day before the COP. And every participant shares what they think or how they feel from their own faith perspective. And also we are promoting advocacy through press conferences or negotiation with government officials. And also, we are organizing other types of events as well. And the right bottom is a new book titled Faith Voices for Ecocide Law. And the launch event of this book was held at the Ecocide Pavilion last week. And also, this is not here, but another new initiative is called Fossil Fuels Non-Proliferation Treaty. This is really emerging initiative, and faith groups is one of the key components of this initiative. And now Pope Francis has also approved this initiative, and also the governments or presidents of Vanuatu and Tuvalu have agreed. So I hope, in the near future, this new treaty will be discussed at the UN. And also, our young colleague from UK will co-organize a very exciting official side event tomorrow morning from 11:30, accompanied by a live painting by young artists. So we are promoting a lot of activity together with other faith groups from across the world. And we'd like to do more in Japan from now. Thank you.
Thank you, Asai-san. It was actually refreshing to me. I mean, raising awareness and reaching out to the ordinary people is one of the toughest jobs in climate action, actually. But you have the expertise in those fields. So it reminds me of the things that I can rely on. So good. So let me turn to, let me go into the different type of questions. And let me start with that side, Asai-san. One of the benefits of having COPs is to meet your colleagues from different countries, right? So when you compare your situation, your efforts, your action with other countries, what's the difference that you guys noticed?
Well, I was also like that in Japan, but like in Japan, what happens a lot is people say only abstract messages, but at COP27, I talked with many activists from around the world, such as from Asia, Africa, and Latin America. And I learned that they are trying to combat a specific project that destroying the environment and taking people's lives. And through the discussion with them, I realized that abstract messages alone won't work to solve climate change. So the reason is because companies are not afraid of them. So I think we also need to do such actions that combat specific projects in Japan.
Abstract questions don't work, so you have to ask tough questions. Is that what you're trying to say? Concrete questions?
Well, I mean, like abstract messages, which means like the messages like climate crisis is a matter of lives. I was also like that, but in like climate march, we only say that thing, but you know the companies are not afraid of them because you know we don't say about the specific project or the name of the companies. So not only the abstract messages, but also we should like combat the specific project.
Right, you can tell by the look of the other panelists' faces that they got scared already. So it's working probably. So the same questions to Asai-san. When you compare your work in Japan and the others countries, and what did you notice?
Yeah, one of the gaps that I'm now really feeling is that faith groups in foreign countries, particularly like European countries, are really working hard and also collaborating, with each other, and also have a close connection with governments or the UNFCCC. So, for example, there's a kind of group called Interfaith Liaison Committee under UNFCCC, and they have a regular contact with the UNFCCC. And during this COP as well, they invited a Deputy Secretary General of UNFCCC to their meeting, and exchanged their view with each other and submitted an input to the deputy. This type of event cannot happen in Japan at this moment. And I'm not I don't mean to unilaterally criticize the Japanese government. We ourselves have to be more proactive and unite more closely with each other so that we can give more impact to the governments or policies. And also in this context, new initiative is now emerging thanks to Reverend Fletcher Harper sitting over there. So now he's involving many faith groups so that we can collaborate with each other. So hopefully in the future, we can have a more impact in this field. And second point is that faith groups from foreign countries and people are really more sympathetic to the people affected by the climate crisis. So of course, not all the religious people are behaving such a way, but they have a really strong sympathy with those people, and also really keen on the concept of climate justice. So in Japan, of course, people with faith are very sympathetic to the people in the vulnerable situations. But also, there are many issues in Japan as well. And so climate justice is not so popular at this moment. But I really feel that, we have to be more keen on that concept and take more action, for the people across the world, Thank
you very much. And actually, it's very refreshing to hear that you emphasize climate justice in the context of faith groups activities. It's a great things to hear. And I mean, it's quite rare to hear climate justice in the context of Japanese climate politics. So it's a nice thing to see. Let me turn to the business side, and also the local government folks. What are the toughest challenges that you are facing when you are trying to move forward in terms of climate action? Each of you, Hitachi, Tokyo Metropolitan Government, Daiichi Life, are the leading actors in each of these fields. And because you are the leaders, you may face the toughest challenges of all. And also, let me add one more question. Does the cross-sectional collaboration like JCI can help to overcome such challenges? I mean, those are the questions to you. Starting from Kishimoto-san, could you answer that question?
Thank you very much for giving us such a good question. And I think our answer is quite similar, but as a Hitachi, I'd like to say that co-creation is a key of our business because we are building infrastructure. To build a good infrastructure, we need to co-create with not only direct customer, but with whole societies. We need to grasp the society's needs to make a better service for the communities. And the key point here is green transformation is very difficult. We just not create a similar all the types of infrastructure. We need to design green transformation in cooperation with various supply chain actors and government. That's the biggest challenge. Hitachi are thinking that transformation is our future business, starting that Lumada model and developing our human resource in the top designing stages, design thinker. We are training those people to co-create with various customers to design products and services which fit for the future globe and greener societies. But in order to do that, most important thing is who we will partner with. If we partner with whole societies, to tell you the truth, it's not easy to change things because people are like living right now want the status quo. So Hitachi is trying to find out the innovator who want to change the society more greener one, like the panelists here, and try to co-create things. So the second question Yamagishi-san asked is definitely yes, it's most important.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yamagishi. As I mentioned before, the Tokyo Metropolitan Government, TMG, is currently working to launch a mandatory PV installation program. We believe that the role of the TMG is to take the lead in effective policy implementation by delivering policy proposals that are broader than those of the national government. I'd like to talk about two opportunities where cross-sectoral collaboration can be useful. First off, Tokyo has faced some opposition to the solar panel mandate. Yet, when we solicited Tokyo residents for public comments, we found that the younger the generation, the greater the percentage of people who approved of the policy. We were impressed that Tokyo's discussions on policy information progressed in a way that got young people excited. The proactive participation of citizens like Adachi-san through collaboration with other cities, both domestic and Adachi-san, who is here today, extremely important, and we'd like to continue to work together in the future. Secondly, making the agile shift to renewable energy is a challenging, facing many cities around the world. I believe that the TMG's measure will serve as a good precedent. And the TMG will contribute to global decarbonization through collaboration with other cities, both domestic and abroad. The TMG actively participates in international intercity network activities, including C40 cities, which consists of approximately 100 large major cities. Last month, at the C40 World Mayor Summit held in Buenos Aires, the TMG received the award in acknowledgement of our collaborative project with Kuala Lumpur City to enhance policies for sustainable buildings. We are pleased that our cross-border collaboration has received international recognition. Asia is home to many densely populated areas like Tokyo, where the demand for air conditioning is high. So I think it is important to spread Tokyo's best practice to the rest of Asia. In addition, the TMG is keen to collaborate with the Japanese companies participating in today's seminar and actively share best practice of CO2 reduction using advanced technologies of Japanese countries. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. I think maybe I can point three challenges. By the way, thank you very much, Yamagishi-san, to describe our company as a leading company for the climate change. But I have to start with confessing that within our company, the capacity building is a big issue, a big challenge. Although Daiichi Life is one of the front runner of climate investment issues, we do still lack sufficient experts. We need, for example, specialists who can assess cutting-edge technologies of investee companies. We need experts who can assess risks of projects in emerging markets and developing economies. And to expand our contribution further, our staff's capacity building is a key. And second, we need to encourage more Japanese or Asian financial institutions to participate in international discussions. The goal of net zero is the same for everyone around the world, but roads to get there may be different country by country, region by region, or sector by sector. Net zero approach, which is the best for Africa, might not be the best solution for Asian countries. So to achieve net zero transition in Asian countries without causing too much harm to vulnerable people, Japanese and Asian institutions should proactively participate in international rulemaking process. So we need to gather more like-minded Japanese and Asian institutions in international fora. And the third is a bit technical, but the important issue. Could you put my presentation again? Okay, thank you very much. Well, transition finance is an investment to achieve net zero and improve living standards of people, especially, for example, for those who still don't have electricity or clean water or enough foods. So to achieve that, we might need to make new investment in carbon emitting company just exactly to help the company to get rid of the high emitting assets in an orderly manner. That means it could be a case to temporarily deviate from our reduction target of the investment portfolio. We have discussed this issue internally, and they decided to accept this temporary deviation if necessary. The slide shows that our policy stance that clearly stated this point. We hope the civil society, ESG assessment agencies, or shareholders understand and accept this policy, but it remains to be seen. And finally, with regards to the interaction with different people, I think the discussion like this, especially from those from different backgrounds, is extremely important. I think the information exchange and the knowledge sharing is the tool which strengthen our collective ability, which could lead to the base to fight against climate change. So I think this kind of the discussion is very, very fruitful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, three of the speakers. Can I ask a tiny follow-up questions to each of you? Kishimoto-san, you said co-creation is the key for advancing climate action, and but you also mentioned that you can't work with everybody. You have to choose the actors that you want to work with. And what's the most important feature when you decide whom will we work with?
Thank you very much. I mentioned that I need to find a good partner if you want to do some innovation things, like green transformation is one thing, I think. And in that case, I need a partner who is very sensitive to carbon reduction thing. So I mentioned that people here is a good candidate, but there are a lot in this conference, I think. So that's why I participate in COP. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, so the COP is your fishing ground, right? So to find a good partner, I guess. Fukuya-san, that you mentioned that your TMG is thinking of collaborating with other Asian countries in terms of cooling of the, air conditioning, cooling, installations of the buildings. Those are the areas that you mentioned that you can work with other Asian countries. Are there any specific countries that you are planning to work with? Southeast Asian countries or any other specific countries that you are planning to work with?
Thank you very much. In Tokyo, we are collaborating various cities and collaborating with the City 40 and Equirates. In Tokyo, since last year, we have been developing the climate crisis action movement, Time to Act from Tokyo, and conducting international collaboration based on the experience and know-how of Tokyo, and disseminating it to the world. As one of the world's largest big cities, Tokyo will continue to lead and implement pioneering building measures. But at the same time, I believe it's important to make close colleagues. I'd like to promote the acceleration of climate change countermeasures in all cities around the world.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm asking this question because JCI is also at the crossroads. Multi-stakeholder, multi-sectional alliance, non-state actor alliance. We want to serve the members. And when we want to serve the members, what are the points is a big question. And if we can help Tokyo to connect with other countries, cities, we may be of helpful. And if we can find good partners within the other JCI members, maybe we can help. So those are the questions I had in mind as a JCI Secretariat. Now, Ota-san, I'm going to ask a follow-up bit of a nasty question to you, because I've seen a few members of the Net Zero Asset Owner Alliance left the alliance. Are you planning to leave that alliance?
Of course, absolutely no. Because I think the sticking together to fight against climate change is something that we should do. And of course, each institution has its own reason to stay or leave to the alliances. But if we are to help real economy sector to develop transition plans, we need to gather our expertise, knowledge, experience from all the financial sector. So even more, the information exchange and knowledge sharing between the financial institutions is crucial. So I think with this year's COP27 and the having acknowledged that some institutions have their own reason to leave, I think we should stick together, and I would invite other financial institutions to get into the net zero alliances or GFANs. That's my going to do.
Thank you very much for the strong commitment. And so my last question to each of you, what do you want or plan to bring back from this COP27 back home? That's could you start with that?
Okay, well, I will bring the change of the movement back to Japan. I think the action to the MUFC Bank was one of the meaningful actions. So I want to do it also in Japan, because like Japanese companies are doing many environmental destruction projects in overseas. For example, the MUFC Bank hasn't announced that they want to support ECOP, and SMBC is supporting ECOP. And yet, JICA and Sumitomo Corporation are supporting Matawari project in Bangladesh. So I like the plan to the actions that combat such projects by cherishing the relations I made at this COP27, and also by cooperating with the other activists in the world.
Thank you. There are a lot to bring from COP, but first one is, as I mentioned, networking with environmental sensitive partner. But I also very much interested in how the conference is reaching the governmental agreement or private sector's agreement, which is the basement of our co-creation to make some businesses worldwide. And one thing is just Ota-san mentioned every region have a different situation, and the regional action is very important. And I'm very much interested in what kind of discussion is going on here about the just transition things. And also I'm quite interested in the green premium, because if the company create a very green product and want to sell it, if they have to pay the cost to create those things by themselves, it's not sustainable. So somehow they have to recover those green premium from customers or others. And this is the biggest challenge, I think, that the most company is feeling. And in that respect, I see a lot of actions here, and one is First Movers Coalition. And I'm pretty much interested in First Movers Coalition is very good, but this is just, I think, part of it. So I'm very much interested in what kind of discussion is held here.
In order to accelerate climate change countermeasures, we must understanding that everyone, individuals, businesses, countries, local governments, has a role to play. The most important thing is that everyone works together, shares technology and expertise, and try to take concrete actions, as Ota-san and Kishimoto-san mentioned. There is a diversity of actors participating in COP27, and discussions are being held on various topics such as mitigation, adaptation, just transitions, and so on. It is also a valuable opportunity for companies, cities, and NPOs to present advanced cases and share technical know-how. Tokyo has implemented advanced policies to decarbonize buildings. In the future, it's necessary to formulate new policies and focus on such as nature-based solutions, sector coupling efforts linked to transportation policies, and creating a circular economy. This year, the TMG formulated a new basic environmental plan and clarified the direction of future measures. We'd like to update Tokyo's environmental policies by conducting networking activities with various actors participating in this conference and continuing exchanges in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think the all of us here is seeing the energetic and passionate discussions, networkings in all the corner of this COP27 venue, and that is for the first thing I'd like to bring back to Japan, but of course it is not something transportable to Japan. So I think I'm going to bring back the importance of information exchange and knowledge sharing with very different actors from all over the world. That is what I had just said a few minutes ago. And in this panel, I was impressed by the words of the representative of the youth, Kokoa-san. And believe me or not, I once a youth in many years ago. So I can understand somewhat your, feeling of frustration. But I think the fight against climate change may not go, drastically or dramatically, but we can do, step-by-step advancement to really fight against climate change. Because what we are facing is not only climate change, but other social issues as well. For example, in many areas around the world, without electricity, no clean water, no sufficient nutrition, we can't just let them, suffer from those societal issues. We have to solve several social issues at the same time. It is not an easy task, but by, sharing information and knowledges, we can advance. And that is what I would like to bring back to Japan. Thank you.
So as I mentioned in the first remarks, yeah, sympathy or compassion is a strength of the faith groups. Yeah, within our own tradition, yeah, one of the key concepts is that those who suffer the most have the right to the greatest happiness. So happiness in this context is not equal to money, but yeah, when we consider the loss and damage, that should be covered in a certain way. So I have no idea what would happen through the intergovernmental negotiation in terms of loss and damage, but I would like to continue advocacy and also spread the concept of climate justice in Japan. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you very much. And it's good to hear the greedy expectations from those advice excellent panelists. And then please join me to give the warm applause to the excellent panelists. Thank you very much. And now turn back to Ken for the.
Okay, thank you, Naoki, and thank you all the speakers for sharing your experience and insights in your respective field. Listening to the discussions, it seems again imperative for all non-state actors work together as a whole society. So the whole society approach is the key to accelerate our action and achieve the goal of 1.5. So and also, yeah, I hope it will help the national government to step forward to create an ambition loop that was mentioned by Mr. Tsuyoshi in his opening remarks. So now to finalize this event, I am honored to introduce you, Tessa Vincent, the Race to Zero engagement lead at UN high-level climate champions. So please give her a warm welcome to the stage.
Hi, thank you so much, Ken and the Japan Climate Initiative for this really fantastic event. What an amazing panel and what a diverse array of actor types. Really, really interesting, and thank you to all of our speakers today. I'm here to close the session. My name is Tessa Vincent. I'm the engagement lead from the UN-backed Race to Zero campaign. I'm from Aotearoa, New Zealand, and we have a small population of around 5 million. So Japan is much larger than that, with 125 million, 25 times the size. In fact, even our speaker from Tokyo has nearly 3 times the size of my country. And I'm here to kind of take it a step further up it to that global level and the relevance of what the Japan Climate Initiative is doing at the global level, which is really, really significant. So I do have some slides. I'm not sure if they can be shared, but I don't think we need them. I can just talk through briefly the key points. So what is Race to Zero? Race to Zero is a UN-backed global campaign rallying over 11,000 non-state actors to halve global emissions by 2030. So we have businesses, cities, regions, financial, education, and healthcare institutions who are part of our global campaign. And it's been incredible to see that all of those different actors almost have been represented on this panel. And I'm curious whether the sort of faith-based groups might have a place in our Race to Zero campaign as well, something potentially to ponder. But the importance of the Japan Climate Initiative and our Race to Zero campaign is that they are one of our 26 partners of the Race to Zero. So they hold a really special place in our campaign, rallying members in Japan. And I think they're a leading example of a country-based non-state actor initiative really driving and mobilizing climate action. Just to dive a bit deeper into the Race to Zero campaign, at the heart of our campaign is our net zero criteria. And that covers what we call our 5 Ps. So pledge, plan, proceed, publish, and persuade. And I really want to highlight Japan Climate Initiative's leadership in the persuade area, particularly with what was mentioned in the opening remarks around the work of interacting with Japan's government and the work of what's known as activating the ambition loop, or what was called in the opening pushing each other's backs between government and non-state actors. And Japan Climate Initiative's done this in a really impressive way, with working on Japan and updating the NDC to have an emission reduction of 45% or more by 2030, and working with the government on their clean energy strategy to enable 40 to 50% renewable energy share by 2030. So these actions are really significant and they're really making a difference. And we're impressed by the work of Japan Climate Initiative with our 5th P, Persuade. There's huge benefits to joining the Race to Zero. You're part of a community driving systems change across the global economy. And you're working with lots of different actor types and other partners from around the world to join. So if there's anyone listening who's interested in this, and if you are in Japan and you're a non-state actor, I'd really link up with the Japan Climate Initiative on how to join their Race to Zero circle and be part of the Race to Zero campaign. I just want to finish up by saying thank you hugely for hosting this really, really important event, for showcasing the role of non-state actors in halving global emissions by 2030. And as a UN-backed campaign, I think we can still go further and faster. So encourage Japan Climate Initiative to kind of show other countries the work that they're doing in this space. And for all of us to be part of this journey. And thank you so much to our panelists and to Ken and the team for organizing this fantastic event. Thank you.
Thank you, Tessa, for your very strong and articulated message to us. It was really great. And also, I look forward to working together as a partner of the Race to Zero campaign beyond COP27. Yeah. So we have reached the end of the event. And again, thank you for all the speakers for your remarks and presentations, and also everyone who attended this event in person and online. Actually, there are a few persons joining this event online. Okay, to close this event, let me say the title of this event again. Now is the time to accelerate action. We can do that together. Thank you. Goodbye.